and welcome to the Dominate Healthcare podcast, where we talk about the fact that we cannot just simply participate in healthcare. We got to dominate healthcare. I'm interviewing people that are just doing stuff above and beyond sort of the regular 1960s, 1970s chiropractic and changing the world. This is an amazing episode because I've got a guy that I may respect more than anybody else on planet Earth, never mind chiropractic, and that's Dr. Frank Vaught. Welcome, Dr. Frank.
Thank you so much, man. That sounds good coming from a legend. I don't know if I could. Hey, I appreciate that. You just tickled my fancy there, Doc. You just tickled my fancy.
Let me tell you why I'm not just blowing smoke here, and it's not just hyperbole. So one, Frank is a big, beautiful person. So I look a little taller, Frank. I kind of like the way we're set up right now because Frank is 3 of me.
Except for your biceps. Except for the biceps.
Well, they're lean, but they're still like a third of yours. But something that maybe, I don't know if everybody knows this. I mean, you're of course, everybody's asking you to speak. You're one of the most powerful speakers. Again, I hate to limit it to chiropractic because I think I'd say planet Earth once again. But you also fought for our country. I don't know that people understand this, that you were actually a war hero. I've heard some stories. Tell us a little bit about that, because obviously you're a man of purpose. You fought for America. You've been around the world. You have a huge chiropractic clinic that's multidimensional. You're teaching other chiropractors. I mean, you're just doing so many things. What's the why behind that? Why are you so purpose driven?
I think it was just the way I was raised, and honestly, Dr. Lerner, one of the things that I've been taught, as a child is putting others before yourself. My mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 6 years old. And so one of the things that we did as our family is we had to take care of her. And that went into every single thing that I did, from being a team player, being a servant. And you mentioned the military. Foundationally, it was so easy coming from that type of background. Then, of course, playing sports, being a part of a team, being a leader on a team, then going directly with that college sports, then military. It's kind of been that. But so chiropractic was like, it was so easy to go into as far as really being a servant within the community. I oftentimes looked at a lot of the different situations we were in, going through the hospital system and not having answers, Doc. And I said, there's got to be an answer. There's got to be answers to being here. God wouldn't put us down here and not give us resources. Yeah. So, that's what really put me into chiropractic, and seeing the miracles that I see in my office through it. I want to share it. I want other people to get this technology of good health, as well as underserved communities and communities that don't have reach of what we're doing and what's possible.
Let me ask you too. So with those kind of degenerative illnesses like a multiple sclerosis, have you seen that in your clinic and been able to help people with those types of conditions now that you've actually gotten into chiropractic?
The first thing I did when I came a chiropractor, I joined the Illinois MS Society, and I was going out doing workshops and lectures, and I learned about the swank diet and giving chiropractic to people, and I began to see massive changes. But then I delved deeper into it because I had a particular problem patient, Dr. Lerner, and I went into functional neurology. Now, I married the two together. I had a lady with a demyelinating disease, and we were able to turn her all the way around to where she was asymptomatic, wow. Through chiropractic, without drugs, without surgery. So if I've seen results, absolutely yes. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, it's amazing how God sets that up. Often that, that mess becomes the message and the mission that he puts us through. So he's even though it's tough at the time, he's preparing us for something greater and to make a bigger difference. And obviously that inspired you to serve on a massive scale. So now we have the what. I mean, you are a true force of nature. I see you on virtually every speaking platform that's out there. Again, the work you guys do with Evoke, I think, is really the number one movement, I believe, in our profession. I've been to your events, and they're incredible. And so what are some of the things you're doing? Because there are several layers to your practice. obviously there's, let us know about some of this work you're doing in chiropractic and what your vision is for the future.
Well, I remember coming out of school and I thank you for the bridge you built. I remember one of the first people that I met were you and Dr. Schiffman. And it was like, man, like these guys are doing it so big. I will never, I saw you at a cops meeting one time here in Chicago. You came in, you kind of floated in the room, like you just walk, it doesn't even see your legs moving. You floated in the room. And I said, you know what? I said, I want to have massive impact. And I was so excited about some of the things that were happening, was seeing the volume and the stories and the lives being changed. And so I brought it to talk to students. So I was in the ABCA and in the ACA as well. So one of the things we would start doing was going to schools and talking to students, because I kept hearing about chiropractors not having success. I kept hearing about people not getting chiropractors. I kept hearing about people not having miracles in their office. And I said, you know what, we need to share this stuff. People need to know it's real. Seeing is believing. And so we put together Evoke Chiropractic, number one, and it's purely educational, supporting docs and having success, supporting doctors in underserved communities and having thriving offices and really getting the reach of chiropractic out there. So it's super exciting for us to see docs kind of like their lights come on and them to get excited about something. It's like kind of being in church and really feeling his presence for the first time. It's like the blinders are off and you see this whole new dimension of what the world could be like through the vehicle of chiropractic, through servanthood, through 100% gratitude and loving for the man right in front of you, but then teaching and technology of good health that supersedes, that goes beyond generations and shifting something, right? Shifting something. So you built this bridge, but we're trying to expand it so more people can go across it. So it's it's super exciting, and even a lot of the new things that we're adding as far as to the office. We're looking at the whole person, and like I told you about the young lady with the demyelinating disease, we're able to do things now like metabolic detoxes, right? You got a nervous system that has to work and function, but it has to work through junk, right? It's harder to do that. Right. We also are doing things like the spinal decompression, acupuncture, where we're doing stem cell work now. Okay, so things that within chiropractic that were looked at as other services or looked at done by other providers, we're able to look at what our patients can have and introduce it in a way that's advantageous for their health, not just a monetary benefit for the doctor. And I'm super excited even about HRT, really supporting health. How can you look at your healthcare practitioner? One thing I was always told, Dr. Lerner, if I'm looking down and I see my stomach before I see my patient, I'm in trouble, Dr. Lerner. I'm in trouble. So we want to make sure that there's advantages toward good health, not just a part of it, but the entire body. Because when one piece is missing, that's where you don't have balance. And that's health, right? Restoration of balance within, because God is a God of balance. He's not way over here or way over there, right? It's right here. It's ups and downs though, Dr. Lerner. I have my ups and downs. But it's right there, right? It's right there. And that's innate. That's the power of that. So I love to share those kind of things, Dr. Lerner, man, especially with people, just to see that light turn on, because we have so much to give, I believe.
Yeah, we talk about doing something bigger and beyond just basic chiropractic to save lives. First of all, when you mention about looking down and seeing your belly, Sid Williams used to say, we'd be sitting in a Sid Williams seminar, and he'd say, "Look down." He goes, "If you can't see your belt, you got to get in shape." He goes, "But if your belly's sitting on your knees, you're fat." So that's how I distinguish it. Like, oh, you just got to get in shape. You're fat. Like there's a line there. I look at the passion you have and the commitment you have. So the fact that you've made an evolution with practice obviously is exciting to you. So people that get bored and burnt out as chiropractors, I think part of it is that there becomes this internal dialogue where there's it's tough to be a chiropractor because there's too many people you can't help. There's not enough of an impact. Your ability to get into your community gets cut off because there's just so many conditions that go beyond the scope of chiropractic. But they end up in traditional medicine, which is not a solution. Like, that's not an option, because once you go down that road, you're dead. Like, that's an ugly, deadly, devastating road. So to find solutions where you can help a larger and larger and larger group of people with what was believed to be a hopeless condition, that now with the technology you've brought in can turn that around, it is really exciting. I've expanded my coaching and clinics into the same thing. We're having a lot of fun, making a much deeper impact with a wider group of people that were desperate, and they can find solutions like your mom. Like for me, I'm always treating my mom and dad. My mom and dad have passed away. They degenerated from conditions I can now save people from. And that's
Right.
what keeps driving me, right?
And I'm right there with you. I think about my mom and what I was doing. I'll never forget, I gave her an adjustment for the first time, Dr. Lerner. And, your mom, she's in and out with medication, and they're just laying in the bed. And I gave an adjustment. She opened her eyes and she looked at me like, what the heck did you just do to me? So it's like, but I saw her lights come on, and she's gone now. And she's been gone for a while, but what if there was a chiropractor telling her this is what you need? What if there was someone saying that your body was designed to heal from above, down, inside, and out? What if there was someone to give her hope, letting her know that there's a God-given innate intelligence that's omnipotent, that's flowing through her body from above, down, inside, and out constantly, right? So it's perfect. So we're imperfect, but it's perfect. So that's two that get married together, the perfect, the imperfect. That's the balance. That's the balance. So the faith is the glue, right? The faith and the force, right? The faith and the force. So, and I think about that. So I got this, man, when I see it, I got to help. I got to serve. I have to. And you know what? I'm supposed to. That's my duty. And there's not a fatigue. There's not a tired. There's not an anger. There's I get excited when patients come in and go, oh, I got this going on. I'll be like, great. Because I get bored with the other stuff. They look at me like I'm crazy, Dr. Lerner. But you know what? Sometimes I feel like everybody has a little bit. You just got to have a little bit, Doc.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. I'm right there with you, Doc. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, if you're fitting in and not crazy, then I think you're running the wrong direction. Helen
Right.
Keller said something. This reminds me of you a bit. Helen Keller said that I'm only one, but still I am one. And if I can do something, I must do it. Something to that effect. I'm butchering her saying there, but we've got to do what we can with the life that we have to make a difference. And that's you. It's like, what more could I do to make a difference in the lives of people and in this world and in my community? That's it should be that we're all compelled to do that and feel like you mentioned a moment ago, like we have to do that. But unfortunately, not everybody is striving to go big and keep making a deeper impact like you are, including if you have to put, strapping on your gear and flying to, the middle of the desert to see what you can do to help America. Not everybody's up to that. So last question I have for you is the how. Like, how, you've got, I know you're a family man, got a thriving practice. That's the other thing about Evoke too, I wanted to throw out there. There's a lot of people teaching, even though they're not doing. But Evoke, Dr. Edgar, Dr. Xavier, your partners, they've got a massive thriving practice that's also multidimensional, what they deliver. You've got a massive thriving practice. You guys are doing it. You're great, not just mentors, but examples of people actually succeeding. So as people come to get coached by you, come to your clinics, come to your events, they can take what you're saying to the bank because it's actually working every single day in your lives and practices. And so how are you doing it? So much going on. Again, I see you on every stage, but somehow there's a balance, there's a health. I rarely see you without a smile on your face. How are you pulling this off?
And I gotta say this, it may sound cliche, Dr. Lerner, but keep God first in everything that I do. I consult him, I talk to him, and I try to live within the boundaries of those morals and ethics with my relationship with him. The second thing is, I don't believe there is such thing as a thing called balance. I believe that it doesn't exist. If someone says that they can have balance, that is not the truth. I believe that there's this thing called love that encompasses everything. And what you do is you have this bucket and you put everything that you love within that bucket. And what you do is you throw your love around it. All right. And love is this thing that penetrates, it surrounds, it warms. And things that you don't love, those are the things that you got to start disassociating yourself with. You can't be everywhere. You can't be anything. You got to have be on purpose. That was something big. You talked about a lot. Back in your 20s, a few years ago, and one of the things that I remember was it was about being on purpose. And being on purpose. What the purpose? I'm always on purpose. What do you mean? But it's not that. It's bigger than that, right? Being on purpose is a foundational stance that you take, right? It's a foundational stance that you take of this is my end game. This is the vision that I have, and everything that I do encompasses that. That don't mean I don't sometimes want a vacation, or I don't sometimes get some rest, or I do something fun, but it all comes back to, right? The conversation comes back to when I'm having lunch, it's going to come back to everything that I do. And that's being in integrity. I think it's having integrity. And that's what being a leader is. It is a person that's dependable. I know every day in Chicago, even though it doesn't look like it, the sun is going to come up. It's snowing out there right now, Dr. Lerner. It literally, it's snowing out there now. But I know that it's going to come up, and I want to have the stance that my practice members, the people in my life, I can depend on them, they can depend on me for that, so I can depend on them for that. And that's how I ball everything in this thing called my balance ball. And so the biggest thing is, if I could talk to the viewers and tell them, the quicker you can get things out of your life that are wasting your time and taking you away from what your goals are or what God has for you, because I truly believe that if you're not moving in the direction for what He has for you, it gets foggy. But the quicker you remove things in your life that are taken away from your God-given your job, your purpose, the clearer the vision is, and you're just drawn to it, so everything else kind of bounces off for you. So sorry, man, I just went on a diatribe there.
That was so you're not scrolling Instagram 50 hours a week. In other words, that you've got it focused on the things that serve God and your family. So
there you go. Wow. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'd heard it put
absolutely.
this way, because we tend to say it's God, family, chiropractic. That's a common mantra in our profession. But actually,
Absolutely.
it's not vertical like that. It's actually more horizontal, like it's lying on a table. And I think what you're saying is you're putting full God and love in all three of those. And so if it's God time, putting all our love, all of our time, all of our energy and effort into God. If it's family time, it's all of our love, all of God, all of our energy into family. And then the same thing with your mission. You're all in on all three, and you've gotten rid of all the sideways energy and the clutter in your life so that you can stay focused. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
So last thing, we've got, obviously Dr. Schiffman and I, we love you. Dr. Schiffman considers you a son. And we really believe in you and Dr. Edgar and Dr. Xavier and all that you're doing. So we've come together. We're going to do this unity event. So we've united. We're going to do this big event. We're tired of the division in the profession and in the world. Let's bring us together.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on this? I don't think I'm more excited about anything that I'm doing in 2024 than that conference we're going to do in May. So what are your feelings in this? We haven't talked that much about it here in the last couple of weeks.
Man, I am so excited, Dr. Lerner. I can't tell you the access to information and resources that we'll be able to share and spread in the profession to support and allow people to have a level of success. The reason, one of the things that I coined a lot of my success to are going to seminars with Dr. Schiffman, with you, with traveling around the country, with going and learning different things, and then building and having those relationships. One of the things that our medical system is really good about is they don't even like each other, but they stay together. They help, they share resources, they work together as a unit. I think it's one of the biggest things that can really get this rolling with us really making an impact underserved communities getting chiropractic, a shift and a change in the state of chiropractic, period. More people having access. The first thought being, okay, I'm pregnant now. I have to go get my OB-GYN check, but I got to remove intrauterine stress. I mean, these are things that need to spring in the heads. And I believe that together, as far as with the technologies that we have, we'll be able to get better patient care. But that's a small thing. You're talking about even chiropractors having more success with running their businesses, their financial health, right? Their planning. I mean, these are all things that going into being a chiropractor, we don't understand the value and how much energy it is, and we don't have a place to go to get it. Now it's being created. I'm super excited about it. You have all of these parts of the profession are over here and over here. They all want to serve, right? And there's a place for them being united, right? Being united, there's a place for them with us as far as really getting a movement going and changing the fabric of what good health care is.
Awesome. Yeah, with all of us together and the people we're preaching to and teaching to, we're going to change the world, man. 2024 is going to be a different year for this planet. So, man, I appreciate you being on. This was as amazing and as fun as I thought. Everybody out there, bless you. And remember who you are. And don't forget, you've got to dominate, not participate.